Hey you guys, welcome to Kemma's Never Seen It. I'm Kemma, and the movie we will be talking about today is The Fast and the Furious. Now, I'm well aware there are like 74 of these movies. So we're going to focus on the first one today. I was actually a little disappointed because I haven't seen any of the Fast and the Furious movies, like any of them, but I have seen clips of them. And the two clips that I remember is the one where Paul Walker, I believe that's his name, where he's just like, just forget about it, cuz.
Drop it, hell. I want to hear about this, homie.
I said forget about it, cuz.
And the other scene is where Tyrese is commenting to The Rock, and he's just like, woo, better hide your baby oil. And The Rock is just like, better hide that big ass forehead.
Hey, Mia, you better hide your baby oil.
I'm just playing. You better hide that big ass forehead.
I was just joking.
Those are the only two scenes that I like know about this franchise. And they're not even in the first movie, but we move on. As always, let's read the description based off of the DVD summary. This is actually kind of long, so let's see where this takes us. They've got the adrenaline rush and the mean machines, but most of all, they got the extreme need for speed. That's so cute. On the turbocharged streets of Los Angeles, every night is a championship race. With nitro-boosted fury, Dominic Toretto rules the road, turning all his challenges into dust. He and his rival, Johnny Tran, are the boldest, the baddest, and the best. But now there's a new rage on the rad. Is that right? They know he's tough, they know he's fast, but what they don't know is he is a speed demon detective with enough drive and determination to come out the winner. With intense, full throttle action, awesome high-speed stunts, and full-on pedal. With intense, full throttle action, awesome high-speed stunts, and full-on pedal to the metal intensity, this Fast and Furious assault puts you in the driver's seat and dares you to exceed all limits. Oh my God. That was like a riddle. I don't even know what I just read. That was like some kind of haiku or something. But anyway, so I know I usually say this at the end as far as the rating goes, but I'm going to start off by saying this movie was unfairly rated on Rotten Tomatoes. How was it unfairly rated? Well, it got a 55% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think we can boost that up to a 62 easily because of the comedy. I laughed so much in this movie, and I know this was not meant to be a comedy or have really any funny parts. I was laughing. First of all, it brought out a bunch of nostalgia, as usual, trying to figure out what year it was. Couldn't figure it out. What is it set in, 2001? I mean, 2002? This is definitely pre-2010. This is definitely pre, 2008. It looks mad beige. This is like from like 2003. Flip phones, definitely like 2000. This was definitely 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5. Saw in those old semi trucks, they had DVD players, VCRs, the TVs with the fatbacks. Like it just brought me back, and I just had to chuckle because I was just like, dang, this is stuff that we grew up with, and now people don't know what any of that stuff is. I can go ask someone who was born in, let's say, 2010, and that might be generous, but 2010. What's a DVD player? What's a VCR? They won't know what that is. I'm not trying to be like, Becky might. No, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just saying, like, even me now seeing that's stuff we don't have anymore. And it's just like, dang, we were living like that. But anyway, back to the movie. I'm sorry. So to start off with the movie, we're in like a cargo place, or the place where there's always the big bins that you put onto the semi truck. We start there, and then there's a semi truck that's driving at night. It's followed up by a bunch of racers, I'm guessing, and they steal the semi-truck. And again, this semi-truck has a bunch of like not old TVs, but a bunch of TVs and VCRs and DVD players and all that kind of stuff. What they were doing with it, I'm not entirely sure. They said throughout the movie, but I can only guess they were just trying to sell it for more. But something about these movies, they won't tell you everything, even though they're long. Then we move on to our main character, Brian. He's racing his car that he has, which, let me just say this, I have an automatic car, okay? The first car that I was supposed to have was supposed to be a manual. Carvana, you will pay for your crimes. But didn't end up working out, so I got the same type of car, but just in an automatic. But it does have that thing where you can like move the pedal and it'll be a manual. It's technically not manual, but you know, in my heart, it makes me feel like I'm still shifting and stuff. What I will say is, thank God I do not have a manual, and thank God I am not younger than what I am. Because an impressionable me, I would have tried to drift and stuff. I would have. But also, car racing and things like that gives me anxiety. Like, watching some of these races in this movie, I was just like, ugh, no. Like, it was hard. It was really hard for me to watch it, but like, I got through it. Like, my car, I think my car caps out at like 160 miles per hour. And the other day, I was just like, before I watched the movie, I was just like, what if I went that fast? Immediately started feeling sick. I could not do, like, people who enjoy that kind of stuff, they have a different like kind of adrenaline rush or like need for just, I don't even know, like it's a lot, and I don't understand it, but people do it in real life. Good for them. Then we switch over to Brian again. He goes to the shop to get something to eat. We're introduced to Dom for a second, and what I soon find out is his sister Mia. Then his whole entourage comes in to the shop or the store, whatever it is. And let me just say, maybe the rating is fair because the acting that they introduced us with, god awful. I'm not an actress. I've never taken classes. I don't know much about acting. Honestly, if I tried right now, I probably wouldn't be good. But me being self-aware lets me know that I can possibly see it in others. And it was bad. Let's go with Letty, Dom's girlfriend or whatever she is. Her like, what kind? All of her stank faces. I was just like, you don't have to do that all, like, oh my god. It's just so bad. And then Vance, he's just annoying and loud and like big macho tough guy. And it's just weird. I don't know. He ends up beating up Brian simply because he was showing up to the place. And then Dom comes in to tell Brian, you need to get out of here. I sincerely was just like,
What do you say fuck me for?
I was so upset by that because I was just like, Brian is trying to eat his tuna sandwich, no crust, and he's getting beat up for it, and you're gonna kick him out? Whatever. It's, hard knocks life, I guess. Also, another way I knew that this was like back in the early 2000s is because of all the low-rise jeans. I think some people are trying to bring them back. And honestly, if they can or if they want to, go for it. That's on you. Maybe that should be my New Year's resolution. I'm gonna start wearing low-rise jeans again. But I really just, wow, that was the norm. We have strayed far away from low-rise jeans. And honestly, thank you. Also, I almost forgot. Letty is the girl Michelle Rodriguez from the movie Avatar that we already watched. I didn't know that was her. This was way back in the day. At this point, 24 years ago? Like, I had no idea that was her until I looked up the cast. That's my girl that I mistook for Gina Rodriguez, and I am so sorry, Michelle. That's on me. I'm so sorry. But after that, Brian goes into his job, and he's just like, oh, I need to build this car. It needs NOS. He's just like, I need some NOS. And I was just like, isn't NOS a drink? Like, he's thirsty. He needs an energy drink. That's what I thought NOS was. Then he goes to like these, I don't know anything about cars. Let me get that out the way. I don't know nothing about cars. I don't know anything, okay? I can change a tire. I can put gas in my car. I can change out air filters. That's about it. Give me a YouTube video and some time and I can figure some other stuff out. But I know. What is NOS? But it's some kind of nitro stuff you put in your car to make your car go faster. So he's getting that to prepare for a race that's going to be coming up next. So to me, this is where the movie gets really funny, even though it's not funny at all. Because again, I'm watching this in the year 2025. That movie that came out in 2021, where there's a 24-year just about difference from me seeing it now versus when you first saw it back then. Me seeing it now and seeing them at the car race and everything, we're introduced to Hector. He's just like, hey, my name is Hector. I don't know how to pronounce my last name, so just call me Hector. Laughed. Then all of a sudden, we're introduced to Ja Rule.
It's not how you stand by your car. It's how you race your car. You better learn that.
Who gives a fuck what Ja Rule thinks at a time like this?
I shouldn't have laughed. There's no reason to laugh, but like, Ja Rule's there. And honestly, like, I've only known like Ludacris to be in there. I guess Tyrese has been in there at one point. The Rock has been in there at one point, like in the franchise. I've never ever heard of Ja Rule being in there. I know it was only for this movie, but I've never heard the mention of Ja Rule in any of these movies. So I think that's very interesting that he just kind of popped up, and that's why I laughed so hard. And apparently the reason why there was no more mention of Ja Rule is because he got too big for the Fast and Furious movies. So he thought, and that's when they went and got Ludacris instead. So Who knows? Ja Rule could have kept going in these movies, but he decided, no, I turned it down. Well, they have a whole franchise, and I don't know how much each of these movies gross, but it's still going and people still watch them, so it has to be something. But everyone's waiting for Dom to get there to race him and like bet him, like, oh, I can beat you. Here's like this amount of money. And people just have stacks of money. I'm so poor. But people just have stacks of money, and there's like, Hector, hold this. We're all gonna race. Brian comes in. He's just like, I'll give you the pink slip to my car. If I lose, you can take my whole car. And apparently it's a really, really nice car with a lot of nice parts. So says Jesse, part of Dom's entourage. And they all race. In the end, Dom wins. Ja Rule loses his girl. Ja Rule loses his girl. Brian is just like, listen, I almost had you. You know my car is good. And then they got an alert that the cops were coming. Once that happens, everyone drives off. Everyone like separates and stuff. Dom parks his car somewhere and he thought that he was safe. But then it turns out the cops found him and they ended up chasing him. Then Captain Save-A-Ho, Brian, comes and he's just like, come get in the car, and like saves him to get away from the cops. And he was just like, didn't know you'd be here, but thanks. Which, true. Where was his entourage? Where was his people at? They weren't nowhere to be found. We'll get to that in a second. But like, that's pretty messed up. Then they run into Johnny Tran's people. And they're just like, what are you doing over here? You know you're not supposed to be over here. Dom's just like, listen, we got lost. This is my new guy. We didn't mean to be over here. And we're introduced to Johnny Tran. And, you know, we're introduced to Johnny Tran. And then Johnny Tran's people ended up letting them go after shooting up the car. That way they weren't able to use that car anymore. And then once they get back to the house where everyone's having a party while Dom was left for dead, mind you, Dom was just like, listen, y'all don't like him, but he helps me when y'all didn't, so I don't want to hear it. Which, yeah, like, where, like, I don't know. But anyway, Brian comes to the house too. He's back with the sister, Mia. He's, like, in love with her. I mean, he was already came to that store at the beginning. He was there for, like, 3 weeks, so he probably got to, like, talk to her and connect with her a little bit. He's in love with her, so he's just, like, trying to talk to her and all this kind of stuff. And then right after that, we find out Brian is a cop. He's a rat. Which I feel like makes so much sense because, like, where did this guy come from? You know what I mean? Like, it's always a little interesting when just some kind of, like, outsider all of a sudden pops up somewhere. You can't help but be suspicious. But, you know, they kind of just gave him the benefit of the doubt. He just wants to race. Nah, he's a cop. And it turns out his mission is to find out who is behind stealing those trucks. I really hope that's right because I tried to listen to that part a couple times and like I just couldn't really pay attention. I was just like, what is this movie? But if I'm not mistaken, they're trying to figure out who's stealing the trucks and who keeps going after these semi-truck drivers, because now these semi-truck drivers are like armed. They have guns and like bats and stuff because they're afraid that people are going to ambush them whenever they're driving with all this stuff in the back, all these TVs and all these electronics. So fast forward. Brian is in Dom's good graces now, so he's like kind of a part of them. He's talking with everybody. They like him, whatever, except for Vance. Vance does not like him. Vance knows that he's a cop. No one else believes him, but Vance knows, and good for him. He also was just really, really jealous, but he knew. Then there's another race at this place called El Gato Negro, and I'm not going to comment on that because I'm really not sure what direction I want to move with this channel yet, and I don't know if I want to move in that direction, if you know what I'm saying. But as they're there, Brian is breaking into, I believe it's Hector's garage, to look at all his parts and find what I believe, like, TVs or that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was what he was looking for. But he gets caught by Vance and Dom. Dom is just like, hey, you better pick your words carefully. What you doing in here? And then Brian, cop brain, was just like, oh no, I'm looking at all his cars. He bought all this stuff and I was supposed to win the next race for you, da-da-da-da-da. So like, I'm just trying to like scope everything out. And Dom believes him. Then they go to Johnny Tran's garage and all of his cars have nothing in it. But Brian is snooping in there and he sees the TVs, he sees the DVD players and the VCR. So he's just like, this has to be the people we're looking for. So then after that, Brian reports back and he's just like, I'm pretty sure that it's Johnny Tran. I saw some of this stuff, but can we really just break in? Can we really just go in and do this? One of them's just like, I don't know. I think it's Dom. Like, he's not a very, you know, hinged person. He beat up this one guy just relentlessly. And now I think he said he was blind or something happened to the side of his face. And then Brian went back. Dom actually told him the story. Basically, that guy was responsible for killing his dad, so he beat him up. Not saying that it's right, but like, you know. And then after that, Johnny Tran's people get raided. Johnny Tran's with his family, and they raid the house, and they like come and arrest him. At that point, his dad sees it, slaps him, slaps everything out of him, and basically disowns him. That's what I would think. But it turns out that they weren't even the culprits. Like, all those TVs and stuff that they had were legitimately bought. They weren't stolen from those trucks. So they're not even the right people. So they're just like, it's Dom. I don't know why you're all of a sudden trying to mingle in with them and be friends, but it's him. Remember your mission. It's just like the movie Avatar. Like, now all of a sudden they have like a soft spot for someone, and they're just like, oh, I can't do this anymore. This is wrong. You knew it was wrong at the beginning. Now you just found someone you think is sexy, and now you're just like, oh, I can't do this anymore. I guess they only have morals when they find someone sexy. I don't know. Anyway, there's another car meet where Johnny Tran and Jesse are about to race. Johnny has a Honda 2000. Jesse has a Volkswagen Jetta. The only reason why I bring that up is because I have a Volkswagen Jetta. So I was just like, if Jesse wins, I'm fixing up my car tonight. But he didn't win, so we're sticking with my regular automatic, my girl. We're not gonna super up. But after he loses, Jesse ends up driving away. He just like runs away, and then he's just gone. Like, no one knows where he actually went. He's just gone. Then after that, Dom has the bright idea to do the whole heist thing, and was just like, let's go get these semi trucks and stuff. And everyone's just like, let's not do this because Jesse's gone. And he's like the mastermind to really help with all this stuff. And Dom's just like, no, we got it. We're going to be fine. They, in fact, did not have it. And they, in fact, were not fine. But we'll get into that in just a second. Brian overhears that. He's just like, Mia, the sister, tell me what's going on. Like, I need to know what's going on. She's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. Then Brian tells her that he's a cop and he needs to know what's going on so he can like stop them and basically just fix this, I guess. Then they're trying to drive to them to catch up with them. And let me say this too. This is how you know this is in the early 2000s. They had a physical map. Personally, have never used a physical map in my life for directions. Not that I would, because I'm a child and I wouldn't know how to read it back then anyway. But I am so happy that I live in the age of GPSs and stuff, because using a physical map while driving, first of all, dangerous. Second of all, I feel like that's hard. That feels like it would be really hard. I don't know. We just live in simpler times now, and I'm okay with that. I'm not trying to read a map while I'm driving. They don't want you texting and driving, but they want you to read a map and drive. Get out of my face. But I digress. The heist fails with the semi truck. I guess they just weren't really prepared for it. Vance ends up getting hurt. And Brian has to call the ambulance for him, and that's where everyone finds out that he's a cop. Letty's car flips over. Luckily, nothing happened to her. I thought she was dead, but she really just had like maybe some internal stuff, but she had some like cuts and bruises and stuff. What else happened? Brian said that he was a cop, and Dom found out, but there wasn't much that happened after that. He just kind of left him. And then they get back to Dom's house, where Dom is going to go find Jesse. And Brian's just like, no, don't. Like, I'll get the police to figure it out. Like, don't do this. And then Jesse pulls up to the house. She's like, I'm so sorry. I don't know what I was doing. I panicked and I ran away. Then Johnny Tran's people come, and he lights him up and kill Jesse. And again, I'm so tired of these movies leaving so many plot holes, because like, they shot at the car. They were really just trying to get the car. Maybe they were trying to get the people too, but they got the car. They ended up shooting Jesse. First of all, why didn't he duck? But anyway, I don't want to do that. Shot Jesse. I believe that he died, and they left him there? Like, what happened to him? The brains of the operation, the one who knew all about the cars and all that kind of stuff. You just, like, again, so many, open plot holes. I just don't understand, but maybe in the next movie they'll talk about it. Then they go after Johnny's people. Dom takes his papa's car that he had built that he was so scared of, but he was ready that day. He took his papa's car. Brian took his car, and they're over there. Long story short, they ended up getting both of the motorcycle people, and I think Johnny and his like right-hand man, I think it was those two. They ended up getting him, killed him, and then they're just like, you know, since that happened, let's race. They race against a train, and they're just like, let's see if we can make it across the tracks without getting hit by the train. Okay, they ended up doing it, which again, I was so scared. Like, I was just like so tensed up. Like, are they gonna make it? I don't know if they're gonna make it. They made it. But here's the kicker. Sure, they beat a train. They didn't get hit by the train, but Dom got hit by a semi-truck. I was so frustrated. Because how do you miss a train and you hit a semi-truck? How do you miss a train? How do you miss a non-stopping train? You miss the train. You get hit by a semi-truck? Are you kidding? Oh my God. Okay. But I guess Dom had so much adrenaline going that even though he crashed into it, he flipped the car and all that kind of stuff. He had some like, again, he probably had some internal stuff going on. I'm not a doctor, but he probably had some internal stuff going on. But mostly just like some cuts and stuff going on in his body. And then Brian was just like, listen, take a car. Take my car. I owe you a 10-second car. And then he drives off before the cops come. And that's the movie. I'll be honest, y'all. This movie is fairly rated. 55% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's fairly rated. If I were to take out those funny parts and not bump it up to a 62%, I would say 55 is fair. It's just like, okay, you know what I mean? It's not the best acting. There is some, you know, good action parts in there. You know, they made some friends, all that kind of stuff. But like, it's rated fairly. But regardless of what Rotten Tomatoes says, they had a budget of $38 million and opening weekend got $40 million. So they say it was rated 55%. They made money off of it. And worldwide, I think this movie alone made like $207 million. And I don't know much about this type of movie, like racing movie, but it probably was something new at that time, 2001, you know what I mean? So like, it probably was just all the rage and like people who like fast cars or into cars and things like that. They're just really excited about this. So that's probably why it grows so well. And also probably why there's 35 more of these movies. But all in all, that's the movie. I, again, just wanted to make sure that I watched at least one of these because there are a lot of jokes about them that I don't know about. So maybe I'll understand some stuff now that I've seen this one. But that's the video, guys. Thank you again for tuning in. We'll be back next Thursday with another video. Forgot what video it is, but it will be coming out next week for sure. We're gonna keep this train going. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, comment, do all the good stuff. Tell your mom, your dad, your friends, your cousin, your uncles, your dogs, your cats, your parrots, your farm animals. Tell everybody that I'm here and I will be back next Thursday. Also, make sure to check out some of my older videos. They're still up. They're not going anywhere. So let me know what you think about those too. As always, comment any suggestions that you have for movies in the future. Let me know if there's anything in this video that maybe I didn't touch on and you're just like, you forgot something. Okay, let me know about it. If there's something that you don't agree with as far as my take on this movie, let me know about it. Or if you just wanted to say how good of a job I did on this video, let me know about it. Comment below. But that's all for this week's episode. So I'll see y'all next week. Bye.